And we realize that he can be much better than he was at home, and we're looking for a mighty tough ball game, naturally. But like I mentioned yesterday to you, I think a big factor today will be the fact that Denny McClain only worked 6 innings the other day, whereas Bob Gibson worked 9. And of course, with only 3 days rest, that might be a big factor today.
Tim, you were talking about ballparks, the St. Louis Park and this park right here, Tiger Stadium. Do you think your ball club would be a better ball club in this park or the one you're at right now, Busch Stadium?
I think in our ballpark we're a better ball club, because I think when we move into a stadium like this, like what happened yesterday, McAuliffe and Kaline hit 2 balls that probably would have been out of our ballpark. But I think it hurts our pitching to come into a ballpark like this. We used to play in Old Busch Stadium where it was only 310 down the line, and our club wasn't modeled after our stadium. And clubs like the Giants and the Braves used to come in with their big guys, their Austin Power, and they used to kill us because they'd hit balls out of the park, and here we were, we couldn't hit the ball out of the park. So I think playing in our park, we have a decided advantage over any club that might come in there.
Tim, I know you want to get loosened up for the ball game. I see a lot of the other players doing just that for both teams, Tigers and the Cardinals. I would like to ask you one more question before you leave. Gibson today, McClain today, probably the largest TV audience of all time. And I know you don't have a prediction. I know who you want to win. Let's talk about what Lou Brock might want to do just briefly. Does he have a book on McClain? Do you think he'll be able to steal off him like he has off the other pitchers thus far?
Well, naturally, Denny takes a lot of time getting rid of the ball, and I think with the way he kicks his leg, it's kind of like Juan Marichal of the Giants. The way Denny kicks his leg up high, I think Lou will be able to get a better jump off of him than he would off an ordinary pitcher. But I really hope it doesn't rain anymore, because that'll make the ground slower, and when the ground's slow, naturally, I think it'd be an advantage for the Tigers.
Tim McCarver, thank you so much. Good luck today and the rest of the series.
Thanks very much, Tony.
Now let's go on back upstairs.
The Commissioner of Baseball, General Eckert, the head of the Public Relations of Baseball, Joe Reichler, met with the umpires down at home plate. We're just about ready to get underway. The umpires have examined the diamond. Denny McClain started a warm-up down in the Tiger bullpen. Bob Gibson has not started a warm-up yet. And they have now, there's McClain, number 17. They're going to start the game at 1:35, 19 minutes from now. They have set a definite time. 19 minutes from now, Game 4 will be underway. Well, I don't want to get in an argument with Tim McCarver, Joe. And everybody's talking about Gibson coming back with only 3 days rest. 5 times this year he pitched with 3 days rest, and 4 of those 5 times he pitched shutouts.
I got a feeling a guy like Gibson, Kurt, doesn't worry too much about rest. I believe he gets up at Christmas Eve and throws a slider on the outside corner. Those kind of guys, especially in the World Series. Can there be such a thing as being overworked in the World Series?
No, and McClain, 24-year-old right-hander, 31-game winner. Wasn't his day in the opening game. He only allowed 3 hits. All the Cardinals said he had great stuff. They had warned him about going after his fastball. He's got that riding fastball. If you swing at it around the letters, it's over your shoulder, up around your eyes when it comes in around the plate. But he was behind in the hitter, Joe, behind all the way. And if he's back with his usual control that he has, we should see some pitching duel today.
No question about it. I got to believe that today, I believe I said it earlier, that I think that the right head will be on McClain's shoulders. That first game with all the hoopla about the Las Vegas and what have you, that has to take an effect on you. I know I was worried about getting rid of tickets. I can imagine what he went through. And now that it's all over, and he's got a thing called pride going for him, because Mickey Lolich did what McClain was supposed to do, and all he's heard about is Lolich, and when you've got a thing called pride going for you, you're going to give it that little extra, and I'm sure today is the day.
I didn't know you had any extra tickets. You didn't come to me. I mean, worried about getting rid of tickets.
All of the Italian relatives left over from the wedding got them.
The Tigers are out in front of their dugout now, starting to warm up. So are the Cardinals. There will be no player introductions. The Cards are going to start their same batting order that they use against the right-hander. That means Maris will be in right field. It'll be Brock, Flood, Maris, Cepeda, McCarver, Shannon, Javier, Maxville, and Gibson. We'll give you the batting order a little bit later, slowly. So if you're keeping score with us, you can jot it down. And the Tigers have a little change today. They're trying to get every bat in there they can against Gibson. And they're going to start the veteran Eddie Matthews at third base. Get a left-handed bat in against him. They'll leave Stanley in there as shortstop, and the rest of their lineup will be the same. Quite a story on Eddie Matthews, Joe. It looked like he was all done. He had his spinal disc operation earlier this summer, and at his age, it's tough to come back from a spinal operation. But all the Tigers tell me that he's been swinging the bat very well, and this is a short right field here for him, and he could be a real threat today for him.
No doubt about him being the real threat, because the one big thing that he has done, he has stayed in shape. A lot of times the fellow won't play, and he'll sit on the bench and pout and second-guess the manager and say, how could that dummy not play me? But he is in shape and ready to go. You might just add, Kurt, looking at that ground crew working, that the track is fast for Lou Brock. There'll be no effect on him unless his inner soles got wet.
All right, let's go right back to the dugouts again.
Thank you up there, Kurt. We've got manager Red Shaney up with Cardinals. Red, Joe Garagiola was just mentioning upstairs something about this track. It's fast right now, but it's drizzling just a shade. It could hurt your offense a little bit should it continue to rain, shouldn't it?
Well, if it gets too wet, it'll slow us up in our running to a certain extent. But, of course, we do have a little speed on the ball club, but we hope it don't rain too much. I'm more worried if it happens to go 3 or 4 innings, or maybe just 2 innings, and it gets rained out completely, I lose my best pitcher, because he's not able to come back that following day.
Of course, manager Mayo Smith loses his best pitcher also. It works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. But McLean has been used to pitching, I think, all year with 3 days rest, and Bob just about had practically every start he's had this year. He's had 4 days rest, except for 3 different times, and of course today he's starting with 3 days rest. And with the 3 days rest he had during the season, he shut him out each time he came in, so he could pitch, and I'm sure he can do it again.
Red, you've had these scouting reports filter in through your scouting staff, through managers probably in the major leagues as to what to do against the Tigers. How do they impress you as a ball club? I know you think they're a good ball club and you respect them. You have to in the World Series. They wouldn't be here. But generally speaking, what about them offensively in the pitching department, defensively? What kind of impressions have you formed?
Well, the scouting report that they gave us did say that they have a good power-hitting ball club. They have a good defensive club. They don't run like a lot of ball clubs run. They don't have quite the speed on the base paths, but and their pitching is good. They talked about Lolich, talked about McLean, and a number of others. Of course, we respect them in every way because they did win by quite a number of games in the American League, and we see them in spring training, Tony, quite a bit, 3, 4, 5 ball games, and you could tell then that they had a real fine ball club last year and this year, and I still say that it has a chance to go at least 6 to 7 ball games before this is over with.
Fred, let's talk about infield play a little bit. A fellow out there for the Tigers, Mickey Stanley, you played a whale of a second base for a good many years, and I've had the experience at shortstop. I can't help feeling that Mickey Stanley has more pressure on him during this World Series than anybody else. How do you feel about that?
Well, he played just a few ball games before the series started, and I'm sure it is to a certain extent, but Mickey's a fine ball player, we all know, and he's doing a fine job at short, and I'm sure Mayo Smith wouldn't have put him there if he didn't think he could do it. And I'm sure Stanley accepted and more or less told him he'd sure go out there, which that shows he's a real pro.
Red, today in the lineup for the Tigers is going to be a change. I think you've heard of it already. Eddie Matthews is going to be playing at third base. You saw Eddie in that National League for a good many years, one of the top performers, top home run hitters in the National League, in all of baseball. Is Gibby going to be able to get Eddie out? That's a silly question. He can get anybody out, can't he?
Well, I hope he can. Eddie's always been a fine ball player, played with him and against him, and he's a threat every time he walks the home plate. Of course, I don't guess he's quite the fielder he used to be, but who is after getting a little older, too. But I feel Eddie can help this ball club, and I was more or less wishing that he wouldn't be put on on the list, after he was out. Yeah. But it's perfectly fair. He was with them all year, and he had a bad back, operated on, and he came back. And I don't know if he's going to quit this year, but I wish he wouldn't be on the list because he's a threat with the bat.
Certainly is. What about Lou Brock, Red? Is he stealing on his own? Are you giving him signs, or does Lou just about take care of himself on those big pads?
Well, Lou steals on his own. Of course, there's a few times where we give him a sign where we don't want him to steal, and of course, we got it pretty well figured out now between the two of us, and he's free. I don't like to take any aggressiveness away from a guy that is real aggressive like Lou, and once you do, if you're going to try and tell him exactly when to steal, you just don't get the jump maybe, and he goes whenever he gets a good jump.
Red, I see the umbrellas are going up again. It's beginning to rain a little bit harder. Some of the players are out here running around a little bit, and the Cardinals are getting loose enough, but it's starting to rain just a little. I would like to talk to you about one more thing, however, before you go, and that is something that must be a note of encouragement for you when you saw Orlando Cepeda yesterday hit that home run.
Well, it sure is, and of course, McCarver's hitting a little better right now, too. The two of them are. They've been hitting better the last 2 weeks of the season, which is a big lift for us. Anytime you have your fourth and fifth man not hitting well, you know, it's pretty tough. So we hope that Orlando keeps going, hitting as well as he has been.
Red Cheney, thank you so much. Congratulations thus far, and good luck the rest of the series.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Now let's go on back upstairs.
Now it started to sprinkle again. And some of the fans who had moved out in the open popped the umbrellas up and looked for an overhanging spot. Both clubs continue to warm up. The umpires are still down around third. You were down in the dugout. Did you talk to any more of the players besides Mickey Lowley?
Yes, I got to talk to Freehand. We were going to get Bill on, but then they got to removing the tarp and getting ready for the ball game, so we didn't get him on. Talked to Freehand and talked to Denny McLean. And Denny says, while I'm ready to go and I feel like that I've had a little more rest than Bob Gibson, I don't quite like pitching on a day like this. He says, I've had this little bit of shoulder trouble and rainy weather and cool weather. It stiffens up. And he said, obviously, I'd much prefer a bright, sunshiny afternoon, but in a World Series and at a time like this, you can't pick your spots. And he says, I'll go along with it. And he says, it'll be just as fair for me as it is for Gibson.
Take a slow motion look at the two pitchers today. This is Bob Gibson, and this is shot down at the Cardinal bullpen as he's warming up. One factor about Gibson the Tigers talk about is how he throws so hard the entire game. He's just as fast in the 8th or 9th inning as he is in the opening innings. And Al Kaline commented that he never saw a pitcher that hits the corners the way Gibson does with stuff. You know, a lot of fellows will throw great stuff, but it's down the middle or it's not where they want it. But he said, I never saw so many pitches on the corner as Gibson threw me. And Denny McLean has been warming up in the Tiger bullpen, 31-game winner. Watch his motion. Very compact fella, power pitcher. And, of course, today he hopes to have his control. He hopes that he's ahead of the hitters today and not behind them. He only gave up 3 hits in the 5 innings, but it was control that got him in trouble against the Cardinals in the opening game. Gibson shooting for his 7th World Series victory in a row. And if he would win his 7th World Series game, he would be tied with Reynolds and Ruffing of the Yankees, who each won 7. Whitey Ford leads with 10. He has the 2nd highest strikeout total. Of course, McLean, appearing in his first series, will not be shooting for any records or all-time series records unless he strikes out more than 17. But McLean is young, and if the Tigers keep going, he may be in a lot more series with a chance to go for some records. There's an interesting sight now. If you look out in center field, some of the Cardinal pitchers are running. You say, why would they be worrying about keeping their legs in shape at the end of the season? But they're taking their wind sprints out there. This series still has some games to go, and they don't want to endanger any muscle pulls with quick starts. So they're out there. That's part of the Cardinal pitching staff taking their wind sprints. If you see that all during the season. One of the big things for pitchers, keeping those legs in shape. George, the announcement came that we start here at 1:35. It's 7 minutes away. And evidently they're going to stay to that schedule. I see Vice President Humphrey now has come in and has taken his place alongside of the Commissioner of Baseball, General Eckert. So he's all set. 56,000 are also in their seats here. It'll be a standing room crowd only again today, despite the weather. 53,634 is the announced, but no standees allowed now. The fire Fire Commissioner and Police Commissioner.
Oh, well, we announced yesterday, I did, Kurt, that standing room only, but the Tigers decided not to sell standing room, and Jim Campbell informed me after the game. He said, I'd like you to correct that. We do not sell standing room. The park seats 53,634, and that's all the tickets we sold. There were a lot of standees, but obviously were people who were in the wrong seat.
Jackie Robinson, former great second baseman of the Dodgers, Vice President Humphrey, Commissioner Eckert in the commissioner's box, and Mayor Jerome Kavanaugh and Judge Vincent J. Brennan of the city of Detroit. A color guard is wheeling into position. The band is back under cover, and I imagine we're going to have our national anthem very shortly. In the meantime, Jimmy Campbell, the general manager of the Tigers, has been out talking with the umpires, and they're out around third base. With the Kinnaman behind the plate of the American League. Harvey's going to work first base today of the National League. Bill Heller of the American League is second. Tom Gorman of the National League is third. Honeychick of the American League on the left field line, and Landis will be umpiring the right field foul line of the National League. 1:35. 5 minutes from now, Game 4. The World Series will be underway. Denny McClain and Bob Gibson now have revved up their warm-up pacing. They're both firing hard now. Gibson started behind McClain, of course. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem, sung by Marvin Gaye. Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight that gleaming, whose broad light and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Then the rocket red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, save the thy star-spangled banner yet waves. For the land, for the free, and the whole of the The fourth game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you from Tiger Stadium as the Cardinals meet the Tigers.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry. Get new Right Guard Antiperspirant in the silver can.
This season, television is the best in sports attractions on CBC. Football in both CFL and NFL. NHL hockey, tennis, golf, the World Series, and the Olympics. For the broad look at the complete sports scene, follow CBC sports coverage, a part of what television is all about.
have the first ball thrown out now. The Tigers take the field. Hank Greenberg, a former slugging first baseman here, and also played the outfield. Hank Greenberg has the honor of throwing out the first ball. He gets a big hand. There it is. For Bill Freehand. Now they'll do it again. John Spetzer, the owner of the Tigers, the president of their ball club, right behind him. Hammer and Hank Greenberg, a Hall of Famer. Charlie Gehringer threw out the first ball yesterday. So McLean's on the mound, ready for his warm-up pitches. The Tigers are on the field. Game 4 is about to get underway. It's going to be delayed by 35 minutes. And in here to call the play-by-play for you in the first half of the game, the Tiger telecaster, George Kell.
Thank you, Kurt, and good afternoon again, everyone. Well, it's a cloudy, overcast afternoon, and we're still getting a little bit of rain here at Tiger Stadium, and we're going to get it throughout the afternoon. Just hope that it won't be enough to stop this ball game. We're going to start on time at 1:35, as Kurt announced to you, but we're still getting a few fine drizzles, and the weatherman has said that it will rain off and on here in Detroit until sometime late tonight. In fact, we have the weatherman right here with us. Brock will lead off for the Cardinals. He'll be followed by Flood, then Maris, then Cepeda, McCarver, Shannon, Javier, Maxwell, and the pitcher, of course, will be Bob Gibson. There is one change in the Tiger lineup. Eddie Matthews is at third base today in place of Don Wirtz, and he'll be batting in the number 7 position. Bill Freehand has dropped to the number 8 spot. So it'll be McAuliffe, Stanley, Kaline, Cash, Horton, Northrop, Matthews, Freehand, and the pitcher, of course, will be 31-game winner Dennis McLean. Another full house here at Tiger Stadium. 53,634 have jammed their way into this ballpark to see game number 4 in this great pitching classic between Denny McLean and Bob Gibson. They were the pitchers, as you remember, in game number 1, and in that one, Bob Gibson was absolutely tremendous. He set a new World Series record with 17 strikeouts, and he shut the Tigers out. So here's Lou Brock to step in to lead off. He's been the big hero in the series, of course, for the Cardinals. He's been on base a lot, and when he's on base, he's running. The Tigers have not been able to contain this fellow as yet. McLean ready, and here's the first pitch of the ball game. It's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Brock, Flood, and Maris will be the batters in the first inning. There's a drive hit deep into right center field. This ball's hit a mile out there, and it is gone into the bleachers in deep right center field. Boy, Lou Brock hit that one a country mile. You don't see many of them, Kurt, hit into the bleachers in right center field here in Detroit.
And especially in the upper deck, he hit a tremendous shot in St. Louis. He now leads the series in base hits with 6, and that gives him 6 hits to 12 times up. He's only batting .500.
That's his 4th series home run, 2nd in this series. Flood hits it on the ground to second base. McAuliffe has it to first, and he's out. Kurt Flood hits the first pitch down to second, and Dick McAuliffe tosses him out. So there's 1 out in the first inning, and the batter will be Roger Maris. McLean is not throwing hard, not like he can. Here's a good shot from center field. The pitch is outside. 1 ball, no strike. Maris got his first series hit yesterday, a double down the left field line. There's a bouncer to first base. Cash is going to have to play it to McLean. He drops the ball. McLean had an easy play, and he dropped it.
Supposed to be the best on the Tigers, taking a throw, covering the bag, isn't he, George?
He is, Kurt. He's the best fielding pitcher probably the Tigers have, but that one just popped right out of his glove, and it'll be an error charged against the pitcher. So the Cardinals have a runner at first base with one out. This is Freehand talking to McLean. And the batter will be Cepeda. Orlando had a home run in yesterday's game, a 3-run blast to put the game out of reach. 1 ball, no strikes. There's Dennis checking the signs with Bill Freehand. Fastball is over. In case you joined us late, Lou Brock opened the ball game with a tremendous home run into the bleachers in right center field. Flood bounced out second to first. Maris was safe on an error by Dennis McLean. Cepeda, the batter. Inside, and it's ball 2 and strike 1. He fouls it back, and the count is even at 2-2. Then he took a little bit off the curveball on that one. He caught Cepeda out in front, and he fouled it back. That's the pitch he would like for Cepeda to have hit. He had lost his power in his swing and wouldn't have been able to drive it very far. He struck him out. Sidearm fastball, and Cepeda strikes out. So that's out number 2 here in the first inning, and the batter will be the catcher, Tim McCarver. Tim's been to the plate 12 times in the series, and he's had 3 hits. One ball, no strike. The runner at first base, Roger Maris. 2 outs. Cardinals lead 1-0. We're in the first inning. There's a strike. McLean has picked up the tempo a little bit. He's going harder right now.
A little quicker right now. Wonder how he can see the plate the way he tugs that cap down over his eyes.
There's a line drive, base hit. Willie Horton cuts it off. Maris will go to third on the single. McCarver holds on. A line drive base hit by Tim McCarver in the left center. And the Cardinals are roughing McLean up a bit here in the first inning. This 4th game of the 1968 World Series is being brought to you live and in color from Tiger Stadium in Detroit, exclusively on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. Mike Shannon is the batter. 2 on and 2 out. Cardinals lead by 1. Foul ball. It was a slow curve to Shannon. He got the key hit off McLean in St. Louis. Drove in the first run and set up 2 more when the Cardinals scored 3 off Denny. Got the fastball over. That's Denny McLean's strikeout pitch, the sidearm fastball. Normally he doesn't throw it until he gets 2 strikes on a batter, but struggling a bit here in the first inning. He went for it, sir.
That's the pitch that's helped him this year. He just started to use it this year, hasn't he, George?
First time. Helped him immensely. Here it is again. This is going to be trouble. McCullough's going to have Stanley. Throw, safe. Stanley cut in front of McCullough on that high-bounding ball, and he had no chance to get him. Shannon has good speed. He just outran it. So it'll be an infield single. Here it is in slow motion, Kurt.
Over the head of the pitcher, here comes Stanley. Got rid of the ball in a hurry, but as George Kell said, Shannon goes down the line very well for a big man and beat it out. And scoring is Maris. It's an unearned run. Maris had reached in an error by McLean. And so the Cardinals are off and running here with 2 runs in the top of the first.
Here's Hooley batting with runners at first and second. Hooley and Javier. 2 on, 2 out. Inside. He almost hit him. Javier had a 2-run single off McLean in St. Louis on opening day. Foul ball. That one hit Freehand right on the foot. Makes it a ball and a strike to Javier. The first run of this inning was certainly earned as Brock drilled it deep into the bleachers in right center, but the second run coming as a result of an error by Denny McLean. 1 ball, 1 strike to Julian Javier. Here's the pitch. Sidearm curve. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two to nothing. The Cardinals lead. We're in the first inning. Dennis McLean trying to get him out. Very intense young man. He got him on a curve. Javier takes the curveball and he's called out on strikes. The Cardinals get 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits. 1 error, 2 left, and the scores we go into the bottom of the first. St. Louis 2 with Detroit coming to bat.
Yes, sir. Up periscope. Up periscope. Bearing 150.
Ship ahoy. You've got Dodge fever. Van Matt's Monaco. Design 69.
Take a long, slow look. Luxury line of comfort on a 122-inch wheelbase to give you a big car ride at a popular price. Under the hood, there's engine room for up to 440 cubic inches. New Superlight makes night driving super safe. Concealed windshield wipers keep the lines clean as a clipper ship. Inside, you're in command, in first-class comfort.
Dodge is turning up the fever now. Get your cure for new Dodge fever now.
Dodge fever at your Dodge dealers.
Well, here's Bob Gibson, and the fans here in Tiger Stadium will be getting their first chance to see this fellow in person. They watched him on television. Game number 1, but they've been anxiously awaiting their chance to see Bob Gibson. Dick McAuliffe steps in to lead off. He'll be followed by Stanley and then Kayla. Fastball is right in there. 1 strike. Gibson wasted no time as he pumped a good fastball across. Ground ball, first base. Cepeda will make the play unassisted. So McAuliffe goes out to the first baseman. That's 1 away. The batter will be Mickey Stanley. Nice round of applause for Mickey. The fans appreciate the move that Mickey made from center field into shortstop. It's been a tough move for him, but he's played well. There's a pop fly. Maybe in play. Cepeda's chasing it near the stands and makes the grab. Nice one-handed catch by Cepeda. You have to be a little careful. The ground is wet there, Kurt.
Right, and he was a thrill fella yesterday with that home run of his. First home run, and 60 times up in the series. He was all smiles in the Cardinal dugout today.
Orlando Cepeda. Here's Al Kaline. Swings at a fastball. Well, that Gibson is pouring that fastball in around the knees. Al had a 2-run homer in yesterday's game. This is foul back and out of play. 2 strikes.
George Gibson hasn't struck anyone out yet. He looks just as quick to me as he did in St. Louis.
As quick, he hasn't been throwing the curveball yet, Kurt, to set up the strikeout. Just as quick. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Almost got the high fastball by Kaline. Still a strike 2 count. Here's the curve, low and away. Gibson threw Kaline nothing but curveballs down in St. Louis, and this is the first one he's delivered to him today. Could be that he's saying, I'll throw him the fastball until I get in the jam and surprise him with the curve, maybe. Foul tip. It's another good curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kaline. We're in the first inning. In case you joined us late, the Cardinals picked up 2 in the top of this inning, and they lead the Tigers 2-0. There's a drive hit deep into right center field. This one is well hit, and it is off the glove of Flood. Kaline goes to second with a double.
Kurt Flood, the top defensive center fielder in the National League, gives this one a tremendous try. He was playing Kaline way over into left center. He got the tip of the glove on it, couldn't hold on to it. The play is being backed up by Roger Mara. And Al Kaline has wound up the second with a double. If Flood had caught that one, that would have been the catch of the series.
Didn't look like he had a chance, Kurt, and as you said, he almost made the play. Norman Cash, the batter. Oops, he swung at it. Norm tried to check his swing. So Kenneman said he'd gone too far. This fellow's a big favorite here in Detroit. He has had a great last half and helped lead the Tigers to a pennant. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the pitch to Cash. Outside. Ball 2 and strike 1. Down low. 3-1. Kurt, I think Cash came up with the best line of the day in the clubhouse a moment ago. He says, what would be nice to play about 4 innings and rain it out and Gibson miss a turn.
Hasn't worked out that way.
No.
He's pitching Norm low and away right now, trying to keep it away from his power.
Took the slider. That was a hard slider breaking in on his fist. 3-2 to Cash. Kaline at second base, 2 outs. Cardinals lead 2-0. We're in the first inning. He struck him. Gibson reared up and threw the fastball by Cash. For the Tigers in the first, no runs on 1 hit to no errors, 1 left, and the score at the end of 1 inning of play, St. Louis 2, Detroit 0.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry Get new Right Guard antiperspirant in the silver can.
Take razor in right hand. Right hand. Now press button.
You'd think to change your old Techmatic razor into our new adjustable Techmatic might be a big deal. But all you do is take out your old cartridge and put in our new one. It not only has all the advantages of the old Techmatic, but it now adjusts for a closer shave. You also get one other little satisfaction. You did it all yourself.
Al Maxwell will lead off for the Cardinals here in the second inning. Here's Dick Sisler at first base, coaching for the Cardinals. Joe Schultz over at third base. One strike to Maxwell. He'll be followed by Gibson and then Brock. 2-0, the Cardinals lead. We're in the top of the second. Denny McClain getting ready. Strike two. He's throwing a lot of sidearm fastballs today. The shot from center field is a wonderful shot. You can watch the ball coming right in. There it is, strike three. He got the curveball over the outside corner, and Maxwell was called out on strike. That's one away in the second inning. And the batter will be Gibson. 3 strikeouts for Denny McClain. This Gibson's a good hitter. He's not to be taken lightly. 1 ball, no strike. Denny got it over, but it was a little bit low. High curveball, 1-1. In case you're wondering about the weather, you can, because it is getting darker again here at Tiger Stadium. It's awfully dark and overcast. No rain at the moment, but it's in the air. Slow curve. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gibson hit a home run in the World Series last year in the 7th game of the World Series at Fenway Park in Boston. He's hit 12 home runs in his lifetime in the National League. There's a bouncing ball deep to short. Mickey Stanley, long throw. He got him. Don't see many shortstops with that sidearm throw, Kurt, but he guns it over there.
He does. He's got a good arm. Here's Brock now coming up, and they talked about keeping him off the bases. He's now been on base 7 times in his last 8 times up.
His first time up in this ball game, he hit a tremendous home run into the bleachers in deep right center field. Curveball is low. 1 ball, no strikes. 2-0, the Cardinals lead. We're in the second inning. McClain against Gibson on a rainy afternoon in Detroit. Bouncing ball to second. Dick McAuliffe has it over to first in the inning. Well, McClain gets them out 1-2-3, nothing across for the Cardinals in the second, and the scores we go into the bottom of the second. St. Louis 2 and Detroit nothing.
Roadrunner for 1969. America's first low-price, high-performance car is back. And this year there's a convertible, a hardtop, as well as the original 2-door coupe. There's only one place to catch Roadrunner, at your Plymouth dealer. Go take a look and see what Plymouth's up to now.
We pause briefly for station identification. Willie Horton to lead off for the Tigers in the second. It's down low and it's skipped by McCarver. 1 ball, no strikes. Horton, Northrup, and Eddie Matthews will be the Tiger batters here in the second inning. Outside, it's ball 2 and no strikes. It's beginning to rain again at Tiger Stadium. This looks like one of those days it can't miss. Dark clouds hovering low over the stadium. Gibson ready. Way up high, and it's 3-0. A ball 3 and a no-strike count to Willie Horton. Cardinals lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Outside, he walks it. So Willie Horton gets a walk. He's at first base with nobody out. And the batter will be Jim Northrup. Jim's only had 1 hit in this series. He has not been able to get off the ground as yet. Fly ball, left field. Should be an easy play for Lou Brock. He puts it away. So Northrup is out on the first pitch. That's 1 away, and the batter will be Eddie Matthews.
Well, George, Eddie, you have to admire him for hanging in there after the back operation, but also it's a good break for a player who's been as good as he is to get traded to a team that gets in a pennant race, wins the pennant, and gives him another shot at the World Series.
You're right, Kurt. He almost got into one last year over here. Boy, he had a good cut at a fastball. Same thing happened to Maris. He came over here and got in 2 World Series the last 2 years he played. This is Wally Moses coaching over at first base. Tony Cuccinella at third base for the Tigers. Inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Eddie Matthews. Here's Willie Horton at first base. He opened this inning with a walk. Northrup then flied to left field for the first out of the inning. Cardinals picked up 2 in the top of the first. They lead the Tigers 2-0. Foul ball. Matthews has had some good cuts at Gibson. Eddie Matthews will be 37 years old next Sunday. Here's a drive to right field. It's in for a base hit. Eddie Matthews drilled it hard to right. He hit a curveball and a good one. That's hit number 2 off Gibson. And the batter is Bill Freehand, who's looking for his first hit in this World Series. Right, he got a fastball over. Two on with 1 out in the second. The Cardinals lead 2-0. 2 strikes to Bill. He tried to check his swing. That one might have been out of the strike zone. Gibson perspiring freely. It's a rather warm day here in Detroit in contrast to yesterday. No, he checked it, they said. Freehand checked his swing, they said, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Gibson's unhappy with that call, and so is the Cardinal dugout. They're steaming.
It's a tough play, Kurt, by the umpire behind the plate. He gets help from the umpires on the bases, and nobody gave any help there. Here's the Cardinal dugout. They all came out. Only for a moment. The pitch. Down low, and it's 2-2. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count to Freehand. The Tigers have runners at second and first. 1 out. Cardinals lead 2-0. They have not scored off Gibson in this World Series. Way up high. 3-2 to Freehand. Here's Shandy's coming out. Red Shandy's the manager of the Cardinals. Gibson has not been letter perfect, Kurt, in this game as he was in game number 1.
Oh, he struck out 2 in the first inning in St. Louis, struck out the side in the second, 2 more in the third. He was ahead of the hitters. He has delivered a lot more pitches in this game than he had to in the first inning and the third in St. Louis.
This is the key pitch of the ball game for him so far. 3-2 to Freehand. Here it is. He fouled it back. Still a full count to Bill. He's given up a walk and a single in this inning. In between, he got Northrop out on a fly ball. The 3-2 pitch. Another foul. Boy, Freehand is hanging in there tough, and Gibson is throwing hard. Believe me when I tell you he's throwing hard. Strike 3. He got the fastball over. Freehand is called out on strikes. A big strikeout for Gibson. And it leaves it all up to Denny McClain. That's his second strikeout of the ball game. In St. Louis, Gibson struck out at least one batter in every inning. Denny McClain, the batter. He pops it foul and out of play. He's got 11 straight innings now with at least one strikeout in this World Series. Two on and 2 outs. We're in the second. The Cardinals lead by 2. Outside with a curve. 1 ball and 1 strike. Then he pops it foul. It's over near the Cardinal dugout. Cepeda is there, and he's got it. Almost ran in under it. No runs in the inning on 1 hit. There were no errors, 2 left, and the score at the end of 2. The Cardinals 2 and the Tigers nothing. Rights granted by the Commissioner's Office solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner's Office is prohibited. Curt Flood, the leadoff man. He lines it to right field. A solid base hit for Curt Flood. He waited on the curveball and laced it to right. That's hit number 4 for the Cardinals. Roger Maris will be the batter. He was safe on an error and scored a run in the first inning. Flood will go too. You can see him taking the big lead. Maris fouls it off to the left. He doesn't run as much as Brock, but he can run. And the Tigers know it. Gives you a good split view here. Cash holding against Flood. Maris at the plate. And the rain is coming down much harder right now at Tiger Stadium. Up high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals have out-hit the Tigers 4-2, and they've outscored them 2-0. The runner at first, Kurt Flood. There's a drive into center field. Northrup going back. He's there, makes the catch. Flood had gone all the way around the bag at second, and he had to hustle back as Northrup made a fine throw.
You know, Flood knew there was nobody out. He went around 2 steps around second and got back, but that's some pretty daring base running.
Kurt, I'm watching this rain come down right now, and it is raining hard as it's rained all day. And what a monumental decision this is going to be for somebody if they have to stop the game.
They're either going to have to play it in the rain, or this infield's going to get soaked here very quickly, and the conditions are going to get miserable.
Cepeda, the batter, he pops it up. Norman Cash going down the right field line after this one. Boy, he needs some windshield wipers on. Norman Cash makes the play on a foul fly off the bat of Cepeda. That's out number 2, and the batter will be McCarver. Well, if it was a 0-0 ball game or a tie game, it wouldn't be such a big decision. But with one team out in front and these games so all important, of course, there comes a time when you just cannot play, too. The decision rests solely with the commissioner of baseball. And he's here, right in the front row. There's a drive to left center. McCarver coming through with another hit. This one's going all the way to the fence. That'll get a run in. McCarver is headed for third, and he'll go in easily. That ball hit the wet grass, and it scooted by Northrup all the way to the fence in deep left center field, and Flood scored easily from first base. That's his second triple of this series.
Amazed that ball got through that gap that quickly after the rain. You'd think it would have died out there, but it scooted like it was on sun-baked ground.
Gives you some idea, Kurt, of how good a shape the ground is in out there so far. There's Mike Shannon. He had an infield single in the first inning. He drove in a run. Here's a drive, fair ball down the third baseline into the corner. Shannon is on his way to second, and he'll go in with a stand-up double. Boy, he hit that one like a bullet. A shot just inside the bag, and Mayo Smith is coming out of the dugout. McCarver scores, and the Cardinals lead 4-0 here in the third inning. Here's Mayo. He's got Joe Sparma in the bullpen.
They've tagged him hard. Flood had the line drive single to right. McCarver shot in the gap in left center. Shannon hitting the ball hard. 6 hits off McLean, and it looks like Mayo Smith will leave him in. It is raining harder now. It rained from 11 o'clock right up until we started this game. And this, I believe, George, is the hardest it has actually rained so far today, right now.
It is, Kurt, and it's much darker than it's been all day. Javier, the batter, and he takes it up high. 1 ball, no strike. Umbrellas are everywhere. Bleachers in center field covered with umbrellas. Outside, a ball 2 and a no-strike count to Javier. The Cardinals have a runner at second. Here are the umbrellas that I mentioned a moment ago, and they're very much in attendance today. The pitch to Javier. He swings at a curve. Ball 2 and strike 1. Cardinals got 2 in the first. They picked up 2 here in the third. They lead the Tigers 4-0. Outside, good stop by Freehand. Almost got by him. Makes it a ball 3 and a strike 1 count. And this is really a downpour now at Tiger Stadium. There seems to be no letting up. A 3-1 pitch. Outside, he missed with a curve, and Javier gets a walk. You'd have to believe that that was semi-intentional. And they're going to stop the ball game right now. The umpires, I believe they are. They're meeting in the center of the infield. And they're going to stop it right now.
Look at their Jack. Throw from his first baseman, Cash. Cepeda struck out. McCarver singled. Maris going to third, and Shannon's infield hit brought in Roger Maris to make it 2-0 Cardinals. McLean looked sharper in the second. He put the Cards down 1-2-3. But in the third, Kurt Flood singled to right. Maris flied out. Cepeda fouled out. McCarver tripled to left center, driving in a run, and Shannon double, driving in McCarver. The Tigers had 2 hits. Kaline double with 2 out in the first, and then a single after 1 out. Willie Horton had walked, but Bob Gibson then on a 3-2 pitch struck out Bill Freehan. And it looks like they're going to take the tarp off, and we're going to resume play here in Detroit. But it'll take time to get this tarp off. There's a lot of water on it, and if you look out, you'll see the big puddles of water in the depressed areas. This water will have to be dumped off into the left field area. The ground crew will have to get their wheelbarrows and rakes and sand and patch up some of the sloppy spots. The infield had started to get in bad shape just before time was called, and if they had let time continue, or the game continue, this infield might have been unplayable. It might be all right now. It's not going to be ideal conditions in any manner. The Cardinals, of course, with a 4-run lead and Gibson on the mound, it's all to their advantage. And they've been over there with their fingers crossed, hoping this rain stops and the game can continue. But it's going to be an hour layoff at least, and more for Gibson. Sometimes this can affect the pitcher. He comes back and he's not the same man after warming up, getting himself ready to open a game, and firing 2 or 3 innings, and then having to sit in that clubhouse for an hour. Some of them come back and continue and keep their stuff. Others don't have it. Gibson, though, seems like a man apart about anything with his pitching style. McLean, of course, has been out an hour or 2. He was pitching in the top of the third. And we'll see whether Mayo Smith is going to lead them in the game. They had Joe Sparma warming up when the Cardinals started to get to McLean in the third. So far, the Cardinals have had 4 hot hitters in this series, including today. They've had Brock, who's batting .462. He's had 6 hits. Shannon has had 6 hits. He's hitting .429 in the series. Flood's hitting .385. He's had 5 hits, and McCarver's had 5 hits, with McCarver and Cepeda leading in RBIs. Al Kaline has had a good series for the Tigers so far, and McAuliffe with a bat. There's Commissioner Eckert back in the dugout, along with one of his aides, Charlie Seagar. That is Bill Freehan. There's Charlie Creedon, the road secretary of the Tigers, gray-haired man with the glasses looking up in the stands. Freehan looking around. This is the umpiring crew. Kinnaman behind the plate today of the American League. Harvey is first of the National League. Heller of the American League is second. Gorman at third. Honeychick and Landis umpiring the lines. And now, that's Bill Kinnaman. You'll notice the American League umpires have a blue jacket and gray slacks. The National League umpires are all in blue. And now they're around home plate. Looks to be in fairly good shape there. The bad area now is going to be the left field area where all the water has been dumped. Well, let's get some baseball action in here right now while we're waiting. Let's go back to Game 3. Here's Lou Brock on first base. He's on second base. This is the first inning. And 3-2 pitch. Maris was called out on strikes. Brock didn't slide. He could see he was going to be way out, so he just went in there standing up for a double play. That's the only time they've nailed Brock. But he actually was running on a 3-2 pitch. He wasn't going on his own in a steal, as the Cardinals had put a play on. They're bringing the tarp back now to spread it out again over the skin part of the infield, then they'll roll it up. The ground crew today has been... Here's Lou Brock now up at the bat again. This is a taped highlight of Game 3. Here's Brock's speed. He can beat you in so many ways. Stanley feeling that ball, and Brock with his feet beats it out. Now watch him go. Here's one of his 6 stolen bases so far in the series, averaging 2 a game. He hasn't stolen any today. There he goes. The throw is a fairly good throw. He's in there to beat it out. We're back live now as the tarp comes back. We're going to definitely resume play here in Game 4 of the World Series. Take a slow-motion study of Lou Brock. And we'll repeat again, if he had stolen as many bases during the season as he raced through here in the World Series, he'd have stolen over 300 bases during the campaign if he had played every game. There he is with a speed in under the peg. We're looking down to both bullpens. They're empty right now. It's going to be interesting to see who starts to warm up for the Tigers. Will it still be McLean?
No, sir.
What do you say, George? You've been down in the Tiger dugout.
Are you asking me, Kurt? It will not be McLean. It'll be Joe Sparma. Joe Sparma will be the new Tiger pitcher. That was the word from Mayo Smith when it first started raining. Well, first got there, and he said McLean would not resume, that his pitcher would be Sparma.
George Kell has been downstairs. You've seen him interviewing some of the players. He's back up with us now and calling the play-by-play in the opening part of this game. And George, I was speculating about a pitcher's layoff. Sometimes it affects a man, sometimes it doesn't. McLean is out now. But it's Gibson that you'll be wondering about. He'll have at least, the game is going to start in 10 minutes, they now inform us. He's going to have at least an hour and 15. The Cardinals are still at bat in the top of the third. He'll have at least an hour, 15, 20-minute layoff. And you never know how it's going to affect a fellow.
Kurt, this was the topic of conversation in the Tiger clubhouse and on the bench, mostly in the clubhouse where I was.
You never know how it's going to affect a fellow.
Kurt, this was the topic of conversation in the Tiger clubhouse and on the bench, mostly in the clubhouse where I was visiting with the players just a few moments ago. And one, they said if we don't play, if this game is postponed, then Gibson has lost the start, and it's unlikely that he would get to pitch 3 full ball games in this World Series. And number 2, if the game does start and action is resumed, how effective can he be with an hour, hour and a half, or 2-hour delay? Now, you pointed out some pitchers. This is Joe Sparma, and he'll be the new Tiger pitcher, and he'll warm up from the mound. Oh, Joe is coming out to take his place on the mound.
They're spreading sand in the home plate area. That has been completely covered by sand. I imagine they might do it to the mound also. Troublesome spots in the infield will be taken care of. And the water from the tarp has now been dumped in the left field area, and that's going to be treacherous out there.
Kurt, I was sort of in on a hierarchy meeting down there for a moment, but they left us, and
that was interesting.
It was interesting. The commissioner of baseball came over with the assistant commissioner, Joe Reichler, Mr. Charlie Seeger of the commissioner's office. They called Red Shaindiest over and said something to him, and Red then left and went back to the Cardinal dugout. I don't think Red agreed with exactly what they said at the time, but I don't know what it was. They said something to Mayo Smith. Then the 6 umpires and the commissioner and his staff went into the umpires' room, and they held a brief 10-minute meeting. And they came back, and immediately upon coming back, with hardly even looking at the skies, they announced that the game would go on. We'll take the tarp off and start right now. Of course, it wasn't raining at the time, or just a slight mist, I'll say. But it looked as if they had made a decision that we're going to make every effort to play, and if there's any way at all, we're going to start this ball game and play it. Joe Sparma taking his warm-up tosses, so this will mean that Denny McLean is out of the ball game.
With Sparma warming up, George, let me tell the fans that this game is going to resume here in 7 or 8 minutes, top of the third inning. NBC will continue its coverage of the 1968 World Series. This game will be shown to its conclusion. And after this game, NBC will then switch you to Oakland, California, and the Boston Patriots Oakland Raider American Football League game. It was scheduled to start at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, 1 o'clock Pacific Coast Time. But this fourth World Series game will be played to its conclusion, will be shown by NBC, and then we'll switch to Oakland, California to the football game between Oakland and Boston, which was scheduled to start at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. It'll probably be joining in progress. Joe Sparma warming up. And let us repeat again, George, and you were downstairs. I don't know whether you heard it or not. There have been 3 tie games that were called either because of weather or darkness. But there's never been a World Series game, as far as anybody can search back through the record, that started that did not wind up as an official game. This is not an official game yet. The tie games were official. All the individual records went in the books. And until the Tigers, who are trailing right now, either go ahead in the last of the 5th inning or bat through the last of the 5th inning, this will not be an official game.
Kurt, I had an interesting visit with the umpires. They were seated on the Tiger bench as I went down there, and the first question, naturally, that I put to them, how long will you wait? What decision are you going to make, and so forth? They said this ball game will be treated exactly as a ball game would be treated during the regular season, whether it would be opening day, the middle of the season, or the latter part of the season. There will be nothing new at all, no new decisions made here. When we as a group decide that this ball game cannot be continued, then we will go to the commissioner and we'll make a recommendation that this game cannot be played, and the commissioner then will announce that the game has been officially called. And if we decide that it can be played and we want to take the tarp off and resume action, we'll give the same decision to the commissioner and he'll decide.
George, did you talk to the umpires when they called time at 2:15 Eastern Time, just how bad the conditions were to their thinking?
They said that the skin part of the infield was not bad as yet, but the reason they called it as quickly as they did, the pitcher's mound and the home plate area was getting in bad shape, and this is one area where they move around a lot, and of course there's some danger of a pitcher pulling a muscle or hurting his back or something, and this was the first concern, the pitcher's mound and then the home plate area. The skin part of the infield was soaked, but not bad.
While Joe Sparma warms up, here's the Cardinal lineup again. Lou Brock leading off today in left field. Flood's in center field, batting second. Roger Maris is hitting third in right field. Orlando Cepeda's the cleanup man at first base. Tim McCarver is catching and hitting fifth. And hitting he is with a single and a triple so far. Shannon at third base. He's had 2 hits. He's batting sixth. Javier is at second base, batting seventh. Maxville is the shortstop. Gibson is the pitcher. Gibson is warming up again and is going to take a long warm-up. He started a warm-up down there in the Cardinal bullpen. Same time Sparma walked to the mound. So Gibson will be out for the last of the 3rd inning. The Cardinals again are leading 4-0. When play is resumed, they'll have runners on first and second, 2 outs.
Kurt, let me make this observation, too. I talked to a member of the ground crew, in fact, 2 members, and they pointed out that once you put the tarp on the field and it gets wet, you take it off again, wrap it up, then it's hard to put on again. It takes a lot of time to get it back on. They pointed out, too, that the infield is already wet and the outfield is in very bad condition, and that very much rain right now, and as much time as it would take them to get the tarp back on the field could endanger the progress of this ball game if it should start raining again.
And let's, George, give the fans the Tiger lineup again. Dick McAuliffe leading off today is at second base. Mickey Stanley's at shortstop. Al Kalines in right field hitting third. Norm Cash is the cleanup batter at first base. Willie Horton's in left field hitting fifth. Jim Northrup in center field batting sixth. Eddie Matthews playing third base today, batting seventh. Bill Freehan catching and hitting eighth. And now Joe Sparma, who is appearing in his first World Series game, who wound up the 1968 season with 10 wins, 10 losses, an earned run average of 3.71. 26 years old, born in Massillon, Ohio. He was a football player at Ohio State, a quarterback. This is his 6th pro season. Vice President Humphrey and the Commissioner of Baseball, General Ecker, with Joe Reichler, the Director of Public Relations of Major League Baseball, right back of them. They're back in their official box again. Parma, a fireballing right-hander. George Kell will be telling you more about him. Joe Schultz is walking across. He'll be in your picture in a moment. There the Tigers taking the field again. And we're going to have just about an hour and 15-minute delay. It's 3:28 now. It'll be a minute or two before they get going. The umpires again. Bill Kinnaman behind the plate. Doug Harvey of the National League is first. Bill Haller is second. Of the American League, Tom Gorman of the National League is third. Jim Honeychick of the American League umpiring the left field line, and Stan Landis the right field line. So it seems about a year since we last played ball here, but Game 4 of the World Series is going to get underway, and George, you can set them up again here in the top of the third the way it was when time was called at 2:15.
Well, the Cardinals have runners at first and second. There's 2 outs. Maxwell will be the batter, but instead of facing Denny McClain, he'll be facing Joe Sparma, the big fireballing right-hander of the Tigers. And Sparma, while he has not enjoyed a successful season, he is probably the quickest Tiger of all of them. He'll throw harder than anybody. He has a good curveball, but control has been his problem. Joe has not been able to get the ball over this year with the degree of consistency that he has in the past, and so he's had a rather rough season. But he's capable of turning in a great job. He's got a good fastball, a good curve, and he can overpower him. So we're ready to go. Sparma gets set, and the pitch coming up to Dow Maxwell. Threw him a curve, and it's down low. 1 ball, no strike. Shannon is at second base, and Javier is at first. And the rain has started again. As soon as the ball game started, the rain has moved in again. Here's the pitch. Ball, it's inside, and it's ball 2, and no strike. Raining again, and fog is moving into Tiger Stadium, so we're battling the elements here today. Farmer's battling the Cardinals right now, trying to get them out in the top of the 3rd inning. Foul tip.
Georgia's temperature also is dropping. It's getting to be a chill, a raw chill in the air now. It seems to be about 10 degrees colder than it was a half hour, an hour ago.
Well, it's getting late in the afternoon, so to speak, here on a fall afternoon in Detroit at 3:30, and no sun at all, naturally. Just a cold, raw day right now. Here's the pitch. Line drive, 1 hop. McAuliffe knocks it down. Over to first, and Cash scoops it up. Dick McAuliffe knocked it down. A short hop on the liner. Flipped it over to Cash in time for the putout. The Cardinals get 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits. There were no errors, 2 left, and the scores be going to the bottom of the 3rd. St. Louis 4, Detroit nothing.
Want to buy a horse? Get a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan. Paul got a Boots and Saddle loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce and bought 50 horses. Elizabeth got a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan and bought 16 horses. Claude got a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan and built a horse. You already have some horsepower? Get something for it to pull. Whatever you want, get it. With a bank plan loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. You'll find it easy to arrange. Just talk to the people at the Commerce.
Well, we go into the bottom of the 3rd inning. It'll be the top of the batting order for the Tigers. Dick McAuliffe will lead off. He'll be followed by Mickey Stanley and then Al Kaline. 4-0, St. Louis leads. And it'll be interesting, Kurt, to see how this delay affects Bob Gibson. A pitch to McAuliffe. Foul tip. Temperature right now is 49 degrees in Detroit. The wind is from the southeast at 9 miles an hour. Humidity, 86%. We've given more weather up here today than we have baseball. Curveball is low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Totals for the Cardinals: 4 runs on 6 hits. The Tigers, no runs on 2 hits. Down low, and it's ball 2 and strike 1. Dick McAuliffe waiting. Strike, he got it over. 2-2. Gibson gave no indication he's being affected by the delay or the weather as he burned a fastball over. Tremendous athlete, this man. He struck him out. Dick McAuliffe struck out. That's 3 strikeouts in the ball game for Gibson, and he continues to get at least 1 every inning, and every inning he's pitched in this World Series. Here's Mickey Stanley. He fouled to the first baseman his first time up. Outside, 1 ball, no strike. Just getting a slight drizzle of rain here in Tiger Stadium. Ball 2 and no strike. We're getting the same kind of weather we had a moment ago just before the delay, as the clouds are moving in closer and it's getting extremely dark here at Tiger Stadium. There's a strike. 2-1 to Stanley. Tigers batting in the 3rd, 1 out, nobody on. Cardinals lead 4-0. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count. That one might have been out of the strike zone. Looks like it was up around the bill of his cap. A 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Well, Gibson probably dispels any doubts in the minds of Cardinal followers and Shane Deese and Billy Muffet on the bench as to how he would take this delay as he strikes out the first 2 batters. Here's Kaline. He had a double his first time up. This is Norman Cash in the on-deck circle. Kaline the batter. 1 strike. Al got the first hit off Gibson, and 1 of 2 that the Tigers have. This one's going to be out of play coming back.
This dark day isn't hurting Gibson with that fastball of his.
Not at all, Kurt. Not at all. A strike 2 count to Al Kaline. The pitch. Outside with a curve, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's raining harder, much harder at Tiger Stadium. This is out of play. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kaline. Curve got away from Gibby, I think. Makes it a ball 2 and a strike 2 count. A 2-2 pitch. A liner down the left field line. It is foul. Kaline just missed a double. That's Jim Honachik down the left field line, the umpire who made the call on that one. Ball landed about a foot outside the line, as you can see. Kaline hit a curveball. He hit a curve into the upper deck here yesterday off Ray Washburn. He's one of the better curveball hitters in the American League. He hits the fastball, too, but he hits the curve. Down low, and it's 3-2. Full count to K-Line. Norman Cash would be the next batter if K-Line can keep it alive. Here's the big pitch. Bouncing ball up the middle. It's through for a base hit. K-Line gets his second hit of this ball game as he bounces one up the middle.
And he now leads the Tigers with 6 hits. He and Brock are tied, 6 hits apiece in the series.
It's great to see this fella having a fine World Series. He's waited so long and almost didn't get in it. He's batting an even 400, 6 for 15. Norman Cash, the batter, takes a strike over the outside corner. Norm struck out his first time up. Down low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. A single and a double by K-Line and a single by Eddie Matthews have been the Tigers' hits off Gibson. There's a liner that's caught foul by Cepeda. A soft line drive that Cepeda caught just outside the line. So for the Tigers in the third, no runs on 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 left, and the score at the end of 3. The Cardinals 4 and the Tigers nothing.
Number 69 is going into the pit.
Check the bus. Let's get Dodge Charger. Hey, where you going?
Sorry, fellas. He's already a winner. He's got Dodge Fever.
Dodge Charger, Formula 69. That's the name of the performance game. 5 big V8s to choose from, all the way up to the 426 Hemi on the Charger RT. Charger, the clean machine, with formula looks from its hideaway headlights to this rear view you give other drivers as you leave them longing. Inside, you know you've got yourself a thoroughbred that's hot to turn you on. Get Charger while the fever's hot.
Dodge is turning up the fever now. Get your cure for a new Dodge Fever now.
Dodge Fever at your Dodge dealer.
Bob Gibson will, this is Mayo Smith in the Tiger dugout. Johnny Sain sitting right behind him. Bob Gibson will be the leadoff man for the Cardinals in the 4th inning. Gibson, Brock, and Flood will be the Cardinal batters. And Joe Sparma doing the pitching for the Tigers. 1 ball, no strikes. We're getting action in the Tiger bullpen. Patterson, the right-hander, and Hiller, the left-hander. Foul tip. 1 ball and 1 strike. Darrell Patterson, hard-throwing right-hander, and John Hiller, left-hander, both of whom pitched in yesterday's game. Seems like a long time ago, Kurt, yesterday. Here's the 1-1 pitch coming up. Strike. Good fastball over the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gibson bounced to the shortstop in his first trip. There she goes, a long belt to left. This one's well hit, and it's gone. A home run for Gibson. Bob Gibson getting his 2nd World Series home run. He had one last year against the Red Sox. He caught a high curveball almost out of the strike zone, much as Mickey Lolich hit, and drilled it into the seats. Here's Lou Brock. We almost got that one right here. I thought you had it, Kurt.
You almost had it right in the face.
The thing Brock hits is a line drive, even to the TV booth. There's There's another foul that'll be out of play, and this one's a little better placed.
You know, they talked about pre-series. The Cardinals have stolen 4 times as many bases. The Tigers over twice as many homers. The Cardinals now have 5 homers, and the Tigers 4.
A 2-strike pitch to Brock. A little bit high, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. I think they like Tiger Stadium. There was so much talk about how many home runs going to be hit here, so they wanted to get in on the act. There's a drive into deep right center field that's well hit, and it is against the fence on the first hop. This might be an inside the park job. Let's watch it. Nope, they're going to hold him. Brock is being held at third base. That ball hit the fence at the 415-foot mark on the first hop. Here it is, in deep right center field. This is the deepest part of this ballpark with the exception of straightaway center. And this is Mayo Smith coming out. He's got a right-hander and a left-hander in the bullpen. In this inning, Sparma has given up a home run to Gibson and a triple to Lou Brock.
George, let me correct myself. I said the Tigers have 4 homers. They have 5. Lolich is not in our list here of today's players, and he hit a home run down in St. Louis. So they're even up at 5 home runs apiece.
There's the new pitcher coming on. It's going to be Darrell Patterson, the right-hander. While there's a break in the action here in Detroit, the score, the Cardinals 5, the Tigers nothing.
If you've been looking for a lime shaving cream that's not too sweet, Gillette Foamy has what you've been looking for. Because Gillette Foamy has this. The lemon lime. It's part lemon, part lime. The essence of the lemon keeps the tang in the lime. And that keeps this shaving cream from smelling too sweet. Gillette Foamy with lemon lime. Wait till your face gets a taste of it.
Introducing the sporty new 1969 Gillette Techmatic Razor. The fabulous razor band and the dramatically light touch are still standard equipment. But this year's model has one bold new feature. A little dial you can adjust to give yourself a closer shave. We call it the adjustable Gillette Techmatic.
Darrell Patterson, tall right-hander, taking his warm-up tosses. Cardinals have built up a 5-0 lead over the Tigers. They have a runner at third base with nobody out. 4 of the runs charged to the starting pitcher, Dennis McClain, and, of course, the first run in this inning, Bob Gibson's home run, was charged against Sparma, and he's responsible for the runner at third base. McClain pitched 2 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs. He walked 1 and struck out 3. And Sparma pitched 1/3 of an inning. He's given up 2 hits, 1 run. And Lou Brock would be charged against Sparma if he should score.
George, we got a wire from somebody here in Montana. Says, hang tight, weather here beautiful, heading your way.
Always beautiful in Montana.
A long ways.
Supposed to clear here at midnight. Kurt Flood, the batter. Tigers playing in tight on the infield. And the rain is still coming down at Tiger Stadium. Foul ball. 1 strike to Flood. Kurt's had a single today in 2 trips. Bounced to McAuliffe in the first inning, singled to right field. The second time up. Singled and scored a run in the 3rd inning. Cardinals are in a hitting mood today, picking up where they left off yesterday. Got the fastball by him. 2 strikes. Patterson throws hard. He's only 21 years old. He's for the Tigers in his first season. Did a tremendous job in the bullpen. You can see the rain coming down behind him, and it's coming down hard. Ball up high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Another foul. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Lou Brock at third base with nobody out. We're in the 4th inning. Here he is. Curve down low. The count is even to Flood at 2-2. They finally found a place for that Brock where he can't steal. He hit a home run his first time up and tripled his 3rd time up, and in between they got him out on a ground ball. Guess you can hear the crowd roaring in the background. That's because it's raining hard. There's a fly ball into shallow right field. Brock's tagging up. This is going to be interesting. Kaline makes the throw, and he goes back. Well, the old pro, Al Kaline, right here, has long been known as one of the better throwing outfielders in baseball, and he just showed Mr. Brock that he was going to take charge for a moment. Look at this throw. Right on the plate, and Lou Brock came about halfway down the line and went back to 3rd. So Kaline says, you still have to respect the arm. A great throw. Roger Maris, the batter. Still a runner at third base, 1 out. Cardinals lead 5-0. This is going to be foul and out of play down to the Cardinal bullpen. Told you a moment ago you could hear the crowd roaring out in the bleachers. I think it's because the rain is coming down so hard right now. Of course, they'd like to see nothing better than stop this game, and that's what they're hollering right now, to stop the ball game. It's coming down pretty good. Boy, the bleacher fans will stick with you. I'll say that, Kurt, through thick or thin.
They always have.
Yes, sir. You remember when Ted Williams left to go back to the Marines, his 2nd tour of duty, and we were all up there at home plate, and he never tipped his hat or said, oh, but finally he turned around to the bleachers, and he tipped his hat. He said, these are my people. And they roared.
Those fans in the left field grandstand weren't his people, though. Sit up above him there for years and give it to him.
Here's the strike 2 pitch. A high pop fly near the dugout. Cash and Freehand both coming over. Nobody covering home. Matthew comes over. They dropped it. Freehand and Cash ran together, and they dropped it.
Matthews. Stanley even came in. When Stanley saw home plate uncovered, there he is going back to his shortstop position. He was coming in at full speed to cover the plate.
Well, it's pretty hard to fault anybody on this, but there's something that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't run together, but Paul Richards said one time, I'd rather see spike marks all over my infielders than see one drop with nobody touching it. And Cash and Freehand just collided, and the error is charged against Freehand. Outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Normally, a pop fly like this would be taken easily by the first baseman, but Freehand is so aggressive, and he's such a good catcher on pop flies that he challenges everything. Most catchers in baseball would holler at the first baseman immediately, you take it. Just missed. 2-2 to Maris. Well, that was a big play for Patterson. He would have left him with only Cepeda to get out to hold the runner at third. Here's the 2-2 pitch coming up. Outside. He just missed. Full count to Roger Maris. Lou Brock moves up the line from third base. A ball 3 and a strike 2 count. Young Darrell Patterson gets ready. There's a bouncer to second. Nope, they can't get him. The ball bounced high in the air, and McAuliffe had no chance to get Brock. There'll be a run batted in for Roger Maris, and the Cardinals lead 6-0 as Cepeda comes on with 2 outs, nobody on. Great speed pays off in a lot of ways, Kurt. Not many people would have scored on that.
He just puts the pressure on you, and it comes out of that locker room into the dugout.
Talking about the pressure, Kurt, pressure today is on the umpires and the commission. Got to be. The pitch to Cepeda. Strike. They resumed play when it was still raining a little, and then if this becomes a complete ball game, say an official ball game, at the end of 5, it'd be pretty hard to call it then to go the other way. So there's a lot of pressure here today as to what to do with this game. They're trying to get it in, as they should. 1 ball, 1 strike on Orlando Cepeda. They'll play no favorites. You can bet on that. Too high, ball 2 in strike 1. Cardinals have 6 runs on 8 hits. The Tigers have no runs on 3 hits, and the Tigers have chipped in with 2 errors. Here's the pitch. Foul tip. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count. I don't think anybody went home during the delay. I see very few, if any, empty seats around. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Inside. 3-2 to Orlando Cepeda. Patterson gets ready. Foul ball. Looks like it might have been ball 4. Orlando reached out for a high outside pitch and fouled it back. Still 3-2. 2 outs, nobody on. We're in the top of the 4th. The Cardinals lead 6-0. The big pitch. Ball, he walked. Cepeda gets a walk with 2 outs. There's Orlando at first base, and the batter will be Tim McCarver, who's had a single and a triple today. Norman Cash has gone in to talk to Patterson, and boy, this brings the umpires out quickly. Bill Kenneman says, let's play ball, and Cash says, I want to talk to Patterson. And now Mayo Smith comes out. I know what Mayo's saying, Kurt. He says, you mean I can't talk to my pitcher just because it's raining?
But Cash is saying, too, if I want to go there and talk to him, I can.
And I would imagine Mayo's saying something else, too, that we're not hurrying up this ball game to get it over for the Cardinals. Well, that's the way it's going to be. Both teams playing it to the hilt here. The pitch to McCarver. There goes Cepeda. He is out at second base. Cepeda was running on the pitch, and you know he wanted to get out quickly if he could, and he was tossed out by Freehand. 2 runs in the inning on 2 hits. There were no errors, none left, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play, the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers nothing.
With
pause briefly for station identification. Willie Horton will lead off for the Tigers in the 4th inning. Horton, Northrop, and Matthews will be the batters. And the rain continues to fall at Tiger Stadium. 1 ball, no strikes to Willie. They've got to go through the 5th inning if the Tigers are behind to get a complete ball game. The Tigers should rally and go in front. Of course, 4.5 innings would make a complete game. But the team that's behind must bat 5 times. Ball 2 and no strikes to Willie. Horton had a walk his first time up. The only walk given up by Gibson. You can see the umbrellas in attendance. They're very prominent in the stadium right now. There's a strike. 2-1 to Willie. Burned a fast one by him. 2-2. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count to Horton. And Gibson, a little disgusted with Horton as he takes time to go back to the Tiger dugout to get a towel, I think. Oh, he's going right in the dugout.
Going to get the mud out of his cleats. Bill Kinnaman, the home plate umpire, Gibson watching him. Now they're starting to play around with the weather.
This is almost inevitable, Kurt, that we'd get some of this. And justifiably so. Conditions are miserable, there's no doubt about that, but they're trying to get it in. You can see the rain coming down, and it is coming down pretty hard. And the crowd loved that little bit of byplay by Willie Horton, whether anybody else did or not. Here's the pitch. He fouls it back and out of play. Still 2-2 to Willie. Willie, on a dry day with the sun shining, takes a lot of time between pitches. He struck him out. Willie Horton went for the high fastball, and he struck out. It's 5 strikeouts for Gibson. The batter will be Jim Northrop. He continues his pace of at least 1 strikeout per inning in every inning he's pitched in this series. 1 ball, no strike. Down low, and it's ball 2 and no strike. Jim Northrop, the batter. The 0-2 pitch is in there for a strike.
6-run lead behind 2-0 on these batters. Gibson just been laying that fastball right in there to him.
There's a fly ball that's foul and out of play, curving into the seats. Evens the count at 2-2 to Northrop. The 2-2 pitch. Another foul. Should be out of play. Gibson quickly gets a new ball. This one's in the upper deck behind the Tiger dugout, and now Northrop's going to the dugout. He just went over quickly to get a new bat, and you got to give Jim credit. He ran all the way over and all the way back with the crowd hollering, "Walk!" Two and two to Jim Northrup. Here's the pitch. Ball 3. Gibby seemed to slip on the mound on that one, Kurt. A 3-2 pitch. There's a long drive. Well hit. Could be. It's gone. Well, the Tigers have broken through against Gibson. A long home run into the upper deck in right center field. And it's a 6-1 ball game. Eddie Matthews, the batter, he takes the strike. One's up high, 1 ball, 1 strike. The first run the Tigers have been able to score off Bob Gibson. There goes another one. If it stays fair, it is foul. Boy, Eddie Matthews had the range, and he pulled it foul.
The ball started off as it would be about 10 feet fair. Then it started to fade.
The ball looked like it was going into the third deck when he hit it, but it began to curve, and as Kurt says, landed some 10 or 12 feet foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and two to Eddie Matthews. Matthews had a single his first time up. Still 2 and 2.
Those umpires are going to need a press job in those jackets when this game's over.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside. That one was close. 3 and 2. Gibby went to 3 and 2 on Northrup before he hit the home run. Now it's 3 and 2 to Eddie Matthews. The payoff pitch. Ground ball, second base. Javier has it. Cepeda, he's out. Eddie Matthews goes out, second to first. That's 2 down, and the batter's Bill Freehand. Gibson threw the curveball, breaking down and away to him. Foul tip. A strike 2 count. Freehand is the only Tiger regular, I believe, that has not got a base hit. Right. A 2-strike pitch. This one's foul, going into the Tiger dugout. Still a strike 2 count. 6-1, the Cardinals lead. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Up high, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
See how this temperature has dropped, George. You can see Gibson's breath now.
About an hour from now, it's going to be in the 30s. Another foul ball. 1 and 2 to Freehand, who stays alive. Gibson is really pitching tough. He's trying to get the full 5 innings in. Bounced it up. 2-2.
Mound's giving him trouble.
It is. The mound is wet, and he's slipping a little bit. It's about twice or maybe 3 times in this inning that he has slipped on this wet mound. He struck him. Good curveball, and Freehan strikes out. The Tigers get a run in the 4th inning. 1 run on 1 hit, a home run by Northrop. No errors, none left. And the score at the end of 4, the Cardinals 6, and the Tigers 1.
In this remote part of Canada, people depend on the river. And by river, regularly as clockwork, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce brings banking service to them. The SS Jean-Briand is just one of the more than 1,350 commerce branches in this country. It's typical of commerce determination to make your banking convenient. Think how handy your own commerce branch is. Here's why. Because the commerce has more branches than any other bank on this continent.
Bank of Commerce, Bank of Commerce.
One of the world's great banks.
Well, we go into the 5th inning. It's a 6-1 ball game. The Cardinals are out in front of the Tigers. 6 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the Cardinals. Detroit, 1 run, 4 hits, and they've made 2 errors. Tim McCarver will be the leadoff man. McCarver was batting in the 4th inning when Cepeda was thrown out attempting to steal. You can see the rain coming down. That's nothing new. It's been raining here in Detroit since about 11 o'clock this morning. And that's what the weatherman said yesterday before the game started, that it would rain today, and he was right. Tomorrow, he says it'll be better. There's McCarver. He's had a single and a triple today. 2 for 2. One ball, no strikes to Tim. Darrell Patterson is the Tiger pitcher. Pitcher number 3 for Mayo Smith. Outside, ball 2 and no strikes. He'll be the leadoff man in the bottom of this inning, and of course, we'll have a pinch batter for him, no doubt. We'll see pitcher number 4. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Strike. Outside corner with a fastball. 2-1. The 2-1 pitch. Foul back and out of play. 2-2 to Tim. This fellow had a bad series last year. He starred in the '64 World Series. He couldn't get off the ground last year, and he's coming right back this year with another fine World Series. There's the 2-2 pitch. This will be out of play. Still 2-2 to McCarver. Cardinals got 2 runs in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, and 2 in the 4th, and the Tigers' lone run against Gibson came in the 4th inning on a home run by Jim Northrop. Outside, he missed. 3-2. Patterson trying to hit the outside corner with a curveball. 3-2 to Tim McCarver. Leading off for the Cardinals in the 5th inning. There's a fly ball into left center field. Northrup coming in along with Willie Horton. Northrup makes the play. So McCarver is out on a fly to left center. That's one away, and the batter will be Mike Shannon. Mike's had 2 hits today, a single in the 1st inning, a double in the 3rd. Drove in a run with each hit. There's a drive to left field. Willie Horton waiting on it. Puts it away. Whoop. He's out. Honachik called him out. Willie caught it, started to throw, and then he dropped it. Well, that's why they have those umpires out there in the World Series. He was right on top of the play, Kurt, and Jim Honachik of the American League, and he made the quick decision.
He ruled that he had control and possession long enough to establish.
2 down, and the batter is Julian Javier. One ball, no strike. The 1-0 pitch. He fouls it back and out of play. Well, at the end of this half inning, our old friend Kurt Gowdy will be coming on to bring you the play-by-play. Darrell Patterson has 2 outs with nobody on in the 5th inning. Schultz coaching at third base. Not much to do in the way of flashing signs right now. There's a bouncer up the middle, and it's through into center field. Javier gets a ground ball single to center, just out of the reach of Stanley. Pretty hard for the infielders to move. The infield is in very bad condition right now. That's hit number 9 for the Cardinals, and the batter will be Maxwell. Dowell's 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out in the 2nd. There goes the runner to second base. Here's the throw, and he is out. Javier just giving himself up. He just trotted down to second base, and he wanted Patterson to throw him out, and Darrell just turned around and threw him out. No runs in the inning on 1 hit. There were no errors. We're going to get a replay of that. Let's watch this. Throw down to second. You can see Javier as he's just giving himself up for Stanley to make the put out on him, and the Tigers, of course, are protesting. No runs in the inning, 1 hit, no errors, none left, and the scores we go into the bottom of the 5th. The Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1.
Well, Dutch fever, please, not now. Son, tiny mistake, and the whole place goes up like gangbusters. Oh, don't show me the Dutch coronet.
Dodge Coronet 500 for 1969. To start it moving, just step down and stand back. 318 cubes do the rest. New excitement in a feverish new shape.
No Dutch fever now.
In here, a beautiful new world of color and comfort, including wood grain paneling and a fold-up armrest if you like.
One look at that car now, buddy, and it's goodbye Charlie right there. Oh, is that what I think it is?
Dodge Coronet 500. The look is new. The price is now. Dodge Fever. More powerful than ever.
Dodge is turning up the fever now.
Well, we've had another meeting of the umpires at home plate, along with Mayo Smith of the Tigers and Red Shanedees of the Cardinals. And now they're making Gibson move his sweatshirt. He had a lot of white showing along with the red, and the Tigers were protesting, but Gibby's going to pull it up far enough now. I would imagine the meeting was all about Javier going down to second without attempting to steal, just trying to get an out and get it in so the Tigers would come to bat here in the 5th inning. And once Gibson gets them out here in the 5th inning, if they do not, whether they do or do not go ahead, it would be a complete ball game. So the umpire's warning both ball clubs about making a travesty of the ball game. Well, we move into the bottom of the 5th, and we're going to get a pinch batter, Jim Price, for the pitcher Patterson, and moving into the mic, all set to bring you the play-by-play for the last half of this ball game, our old friend Kurt Gallagher.
Thank you, George Kell. Jim Price, a reserve catcher, swinging the bat in the on-deck circle. And the elements have been the story today. The game delayed 35 minutes in starting, and after it did start, time was called at 2:15. Nearly an hour and 15-minute delay. They took over again, and since then, a mist, light, steady rain falling. It's dark. It's getting chilly. It is now a raw, miserable afternoon here. But nobody's left. Bob Gibson's first pitch is a strike to Jim Price. Gibson has been tagged for a hit each inning, but he has struck out 6. Right in there again with that fastball. 0-2. Well, the Tigers bat through this inning. It is then an official game. He's got 3 on him very quickly, and that's strikeout number 7 for Gibson. It says in the rule book that any part of an undershirt exposed in view shall be of a uniform solid color for all players on a team. And with this cold day, Gibson had probably a white undershirt on. It came through under his red Cardinal jersey. Strike. This fellow's remarkable after this hour and 15-minute delay. Under these conditions, there's a ball, the way he's pumping that fastball in there for strike after strike. Cardinals 6, Tigers 1. Last of the 5th. Coliff has grounded out and struck out. That makes the count 2-1. 5 of Gibson's 7 strikeouts have come since play has been resumed. High foul. Back toward the seats and right up on top of our NBC telecasting booth. We're suspended right here. We're giving a little wave to show where we are. Just to the left of home plate. We're looking right down the right field line. This is of all the Major League parks, George, I think the closest of any broadcasting booth to home plate.
It is. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
The 2-2 pitch. He just missed with that one, 3-2. A right-hander, Fred Lasher, is warming up for the Tigers. He'll become their 4th pitcher of the day. 3-2, 1 out, nobody on to Dick McCullough. And there's another strikeout for Gibson, number 8. And here's Mickey Stanley. Stanley is fouled out and struck out. Gibson's only 1 behind his record-breaking pace. He struck out 9 the first 5 innings in St. Louis. Today he broke the record with 17 strikeouts. He has struck out 8 today. A A ball, a low inside delivery, 1-1. 2 out, nobody on. Cardinals 6, Tigers 1. 2-1 count. K-line on deck. Stomping that mud and combination of sand now. And they treated the mound. The 2-1 pitch. Ball 3-1. Gibson has 25 strikeouts this series. The record for one series is 31 held by Gibson. He did that in 3 games. Now, back the way he's going to break his own record in 2 games. 3-2. He's bearing down on another all-time record held by Whitey Ford of the most strikeouts in World Series competition. We'll tell you more about that as the game progresses. The 3-2 pitch to Stanley. There's a smash in the deep left center. Kurt Flood positions himself and takes it. And the Tigers are out 1-2-3, and this is now an official ball game. So at the end of 5 innings, the score is the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry. Get new Right Guard Antiperspirant in the silver can.
10 more blades to go.
5 blades to go.
3. Just 3 blades to go. That's it. I used up all the old blades. Now I can use the new Gillette Super Stainless Steel blade with the miracle plastic coating on the edge. They say it's supposed to spoil you.
The spoiler.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC television network.
Driving rain coming down. We have something added now to the game. Some new white bags have been placed at third, second, and first. As the ground crew came out, and Fred Lasher, who appeared in 34 games with the Tigers this year, winning 5 and losing 1. Born in Poughkeepsie, New York, lives now in Janesville, Wisconsin. 27 years old. Del Maxville, Bob Gibson, and Lou Brox will be up for the Cardinals. 6 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 1 run, 4 hits, and 2 errors for the Tigers. He's a sidearm pitcher. Sometimes even drops down a little bit below sidearm. Strike 1 to Maxville. Maxville has struck out and grounded out. This is going to be Mudsville, the last part of this game, the way this rain's coming down.
The infield is in bad shape, Kurt, and it's going to get worse, but there's nothing you can do about it. They've made a great effort to play it, and it's going to be played.
Right, nothing in 2. We told you earlier during the delays, we checked back through the books and never found the game that had been started, a World Series game, that had not become an official game, and the record is kept intact. The 2-strike pitch. A ball, 1 and 2 to Del Maxville. Crowd sort of in an angry mood here right now. They're disappointed. They're Call that ball, too. They said he wet his finger. We had that call on Earl Wilson. There's strike 3. The rule again, if you put your hand or your fingers up in the area of your mouth, it's an automatic ball. One out. Bob Gibson coming up. Gibson is grounded out and hit a home run. Gives a scattered round of applause. Top of the 6th inning. Nubler will have to hurry on this one. The throw by Lasher is in time. Gibson is out. Difficult fielding play for a pitcher to come off that slippery mound, wet grass, pick up a wet ball.
It's a tough play, Kurt. In playing third base over the years, I found this to be true. Any time that it was raining or even a light dew or anything, made it extremely difficult to come in and pick up the bunts and make the play.
Now here's that man again, Lou Brock. Hit a tremendous homer in the right center field bleachers, upper deck in the first, grounded out in the second, and then tripled in the fourth. He's now been on base 8 times in his last 10 times up in the series. Ground ball rammed hard to Mickey Stanley. And the Cards are out 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. At the end of 5 1/2, the score is the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1.
Look what Plymouth's up to now. Just look what Plymouth's up to now. Driving will never be the same again for you.
Introducing the 1969 Plymouths. Fury, a whole new car. Longer, wider, completely redesigned from rubber to roofline. Belvedere, our mid-size success car. 26 models, 18 colors, 76 interiors. Valiant, the compact that didn't get bigger, just better. Barracuda, 4 great engines, 3 great bodies, and torsion bar suspension for true sports car handling. See what Plymouth's up to now at your Plymouth dealers.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
They have doctored the home plate area again, are now moving to the mound to throw some fresh sand on it. In the last of the 6th inning, the Tigers will send up K-Line, Cash, and Horton. You know, only 6 managers in the 65-year history of the World Series have appeared in as many as 6 series. All except Walter Alston, who is still active, are in the Cooperstown Hall of Fame. Leading the roster is Casey Stengel with 10 series appearances, followed by John McGraw and Joe McCarthy with 9. Connie Mack got into 8 series, Miller Huggins into 6, as did Walter Alston, now and still the manager, who's had that insecure job with the Dodgers of a 1-year contract, 16 in a row. George, I wish you and I could get an insecure job like that 16 years in a row.
What he really got, Kurt, was a 16-year contract, 1 year at a time, I think. It might be a 20-year contract. He's still going.
He's done a good job with those Dodgers. K-Line having an all-around excellent series. He waited 16 years to play in one. He's now had 6 hits in this series and 15 times up. Today he's doubled and singled. Made a good fielding play in St. Louis on the foul ball by Cepeda. Outstanding throw today with Brock on third, 1 out. Brock didn't go. Brock held, but it was a good throw. Bob Gibson, there's his World Series record. 2 wins against the Yankees in '64. 3 against the Red Sox in '67. Opening game win this year, and he's ahead right now 6-1. Eight strikeouts so far. Foul back, 1-1 to K-Line. Two and 1. In the opening game against Gibson, Kaline had a double in 4 times. So he's now had 3 hits off Gibson and 7 times up. And the most effective Tiger against him. The 2-1 pitch to Kaline. Going after the low inside, sinking fastball. 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out. Quite a sight, that breath in the air, the rain coming down, the pack stands in the background. Line drive to Maxwell. Kaline hit it hard again, but right at somebody. 1 away. Norm Cash has struck out and fouled out. Ball to him. Carver's straighten out with his pitcher. One-0 pitch. Popped up. Mike Shannon calling for this one at third. 2 down. Willie Horton has walked and struck out. Cardinals 6. The Tigers 1. Last of the 6th inning. A strike. Willie will chase that ball in the dirt now and then. Tomorrow it is supposed to be a much nicer day. Clearing skies, warm, around 65 degrees. Lolich, the left-hander for the Tigers. Bryles, the right-hander for the Cardinals. A ball, 1-1. We'll be on at 12:30 with World Series report, Eastern Time on NBC television. Followed by the 5th game. A 1-1 pitch. Blew the fastball by him, 1-2. Gibson has struck out at least one batter in every inning of the first game and this game. Hasn't struck out anyone so far in this inning. 2 down, nobody on. 1-2. That foul's headed back toward the seats. And they have to even pound the mud out of a catcher's mask. That's something. Two down, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Willie Horton. 2-2 to him. If a smile was your umbrella today, you were in trouble. The 2-2 pitch, there's strike 3, 9 strikeouts for Gibson. He has struck out now at least one man in every inning of the series that he's pitched in. 3 up and 3 down at the end of 6. It's the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1.
This was Canada, 1867. The Bank of Commerce began that year. Canada grew, and Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce kept pace. A reliable, progressive bank. Its thoughts are still on the future. Already, space-age computers serve some branches to give customers fast electronic service. Eventually, they will link all Commerce branches coast to coast. Also for the near future, Commerce cash dispensers. Conveniently located so that you can get instant cash day or night.
Bank of Commerce, Bank of Commerce, Bank of Commerce, Bank of Commerce.
One of the world's great banks.
This This fourth game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you live and in color from Tiger Stadium on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. Remember, at the conclusion of today's World Series baseball game, NBC will switch to Oakland, California, for the American Football League game between the Boston Patriots and Oakland Raiders, which will be in progress. And we'll have other games on, too, around the country, regional telecasts. Flood is grounded out single and fly to right. Kurt Flood facing Fred Lasher, a strike. Telling a 1. Miami's at Houston today and Cincinnati at Denver in the American Football League. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roger Maris on deck and Orlando Cepeda. This is the 7th inning. Maris. He pops it up. Mickey Stanley squeezes it for out number 1 in the top of the 7th. Roger Maris has reached in an error by Denny McClain, has flied out, grounded out. He's knocked in a run with his infield bounder in the 4th, has scored Lou Brock from 3rd. A strike to him. McClain started 2 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 4 runs. And after the long delay, he didn't come back out. Sparma then took over the ball. Sparma pitched a 1/3 of an inning, 2 hits. He was charged with 2 runs. Darrell Patterson pitched 2 innings, and now Fred Lasher's on his 2nd inning. Cardinals have 1 away, nobody on in the 7th. A high pop in the shallow center. Going out's McAuliffe, coming on is Northrup. Dick McAuliffe, the second baseman, has it. Out number 2. Orlando Cepeda will be the next batter for the Cardinals. He has struck out, fouled out, and walked. I understand this World Series is being carried by satellite, live. Many of Cepeda's countrymen, friends, and family are watching in Puerto Rico. The strike, also in Mexico and Canada, around the world. Boy, how time flies. A few years ago, it'd go to the Mississippi River. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two down, the Cardinals leading 6-1. They're batting in the 7th. Base hit for Cepeda in the left field, Willie Horton. Back into the infield. The Cardinals now have 10 hits. They had 13 hits yesterday, 23 hits in these 2 games. Tim McCarver singled. Then he tripled in the 3rd to drive in a run and was flied out. He and Cepeda each have knocked in 4 runs to lead the Cardinals in the RBI department. All 1 to him. They hit first, 2 down. Fastball away, 2-0. Cepeda bluffed the dash that time, but he wasn't going anywhere. Cash playing off the bag against him. Two and 1 to Tim McCarver. High fly in the shallow center. McAuliffe scooting out. Coming on is Northrup. Northrup calls for it and makes the catch for the 3rd out. No runs for the Cardinals in the 7th. 1 hit. There were no errors. 1 left. 6.5 gone. The Cardinals 6. The Tigers 1.
A truck is a truck, right? Wrong. 69 Dodge and Fargo trucks are sport trucks. Here, take a look. New cushion beam suspension. Chrysler took the elastic off the bankroll to completely re-engineer the suspension and steering on Dodge and Fargo pickup trucks. A sway bar was added, springs redesigned, liners added, and a lot more to make 69 Dodge and Fargo trucks the sweetest handling pickups on the road under any load, bar none. Bumps flatten, potholes smooth out, rides like a limousine. And that's not all. Handsome new long line styling and comfortable luxury interiors prove you don't have to be ugly to be tough. Dodge and Fargo with cushion beam suspension. Sport Truck 69. See your Chrysler dealer for Sport Truck 69.
It's the seventh inning stretch in Tiger Stadium. A wet and cold crowd on their feet. There's our camera on top of the stadium looking down. Bob Gibson warming up to face Northrop, Matthews, and Freehand. Gibson so far has allowed 4 hits, 1 run, a home run by Northrop in the fourth, has struck out 9. He now has 26 strikeouts in this World Series, 17 in the opener and 9 today. Northrop, a fly ball to left field, retired him in the second, and he's home run in the fourth. Mounting ball to Cepeda. Easy play for him, 1 away. And since Northrop hit that home run in the fourth inning, 1, 2, 5, 8, 9 in a row have gone down before Bob Gibson. And only 1 ball has been hit out of the infield since then. Trials against Lolich tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Time on NBC. Eddie Matthews takes ball 1. Matthews is single to right and grounded out. 1 out of 2. Two and nothing. These two faced each other plenty of times in the National League. He's with the Braves. Outside, ball 3. You know, George, we get a lot of wires and letters during the series. It's good and bad, but the one I got a kick out of today was from a Hall of Fame baseball broadcaster, Red Barber. Sent his best regards to all of us.
He's a great guy. Been on many of these.
3-0 pitch is ball 4. Matthews is on. Red lives now in Key Biscayne, Florida. One of the greatest sports announcers and baseball broadcasters in the history of our business. Always will be.
I wonder how many World Series broadcasts and telecasts he's appeared on.
Oh,
many, many. Great job by the old redhead.
Right. Al Allen, and another Hall of Famer. Bill Freehand up and struck out twice. He's looking for his first hit of the series. A strike to him. We're getting some warm-up action now in the Tiger bullpen. Hiller, a left-hander, warming up. Gibson fires a fastball by him. Hiller warming up. Lasher, the pitcher's due up next. The Tigers are trailing 6-1 in the last of the 7th. Strike. 0-2. 0-3. That's the third strike on him. He's out of there. It's 3 times Freehand has struck out. We're watching the dugout then, and Matchik now is coming out. Tom Matchik. He's been up twice as a pinch hitter. No hits so far in this series. 2 down. Eddie Matthews at first. 10 strikeouts for Gibson. At least 1 every inning in the opening game and game 4. Ball 1. Gibson is the only pitcher in World Series history to pitch 5 games with 10 or more strikeouts. Sandy Koufax, the only other pitcher with 3 10-strikeout games. Gibson now has 5 10-strikeout games. A 1-1 pitch. Fly ball out in the left center. Kurt Flood has it, and the Tigers are out in the 7th. No runs, no hits, there were no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 7, it's the Cardinals 6 and the Tigers 1.
Take razor in right hand. Right hand. Now press button A.
You'd think to change your old Techmatic razor into our new adjustable Techmatic might be a big deal. But all you do is take out your old cartridge and put in our new one. It not only has all the advantages of the old Techmatic, but it now adjusts for a closer shave. You also get one other little satisfaction. You did it all yourself.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC television network.
John Hiller, 25-year-old left-hander who won 9 and lost 6 for the Tigers this year with an earned run average of 2.39. He was born in Scarborough, Ontario. And here he is pitching to Shannon. Bounding ball, it's fair in back of the bag. Eddie Matthews, low throw. Cash can't handle it. So Shannon's on. Be an error charged on the throw. Error on Eddie Matthews. That's the 3rd Tiger error. Javier has struck out, walked, and singled. Hiller lives now in Duluth, Minnesota. Tigers 6, or Cardinals 6, Tigers 1. Fastball for a strike, 0-1 to Javier. Tigers now have made 7 errors in the series to 1 for the Cardinals. Today, the Cardinals have had 10 hits and the Tigers 4. There's a drive down the left field line. That's a fair ball, rattling around in the corner. Willie Horton's up with it. Shannon's in the 3rd. And Javier's in the 2nd. Looks like that one plunked right on the line. A double for Javier. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. The 11th hit for St. Louis. Al Maxwell has struck out, grounded out, and struck out. And the Tigers cannot afford to give up any more runs when they bring that infield in. Maxwell takes the curve inside for a ball. Bob Gibson has come out on deck. He's due up next. Ball 2. Javier, like Brock, seems to thrive under World Series pressure. He now has a .385 lifetime World Series average. Shannon at 3rd. Javier at 2nd. Nobody out. 8th inning. 6-1. St. Louis. Curve for a strike. 2-1. Dobson is warming up in the Tiger bullpen. Three and 1 count to Dal Maxville. That's Dobson. Now the bases are loaded. nobody out. Shannon's at third. Javier's at second. Maxville's at first. And the pitcher, Bob Gibson, who grounded out, hit a home run in the left field seats in the fourth and rolled out in the sixth. Bob Gibson getting a hand, as he should, for his brilliant performances in World Series competition and, of course, during the season. He's got that infield halfway at short and second. Fastball for a strike to Gibson. As George mentioned earlier, Gibson's a threat at the bat. He can run the bases. He can field. He's an all-around athlete. He was a basketball star at Creighton University. Strike two, 0-2. Shannon, the lead runner. Javier's at second. Maxville at first. No outs. A two-strike pitch. Gibson reaching and fouling the bat. 0-2. With it high and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It has suddenly quit raining. And the mist is blown away. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. John Hiller. Bases are loaded. Nobody out. The 2-2 pitch to Bob Gibson. Fouls it back. Count goes to 3-2. Mike Shannon at third. Javier at second. Maxville at first. Nobody out. The Cardinals already ahead 6-1. Top of the 8th inning. Here's a 3-2 pitch. He walked him to force in a run. Well, Gibson has his second run batted into the game. Lou Brock. Well, this is one time that the traffic lanes will be blocked. The bases are loaded. Brock hit a home run in the first, grounded out in the second, tripled in the fourth, and grounded out in the sixth. And he has the most hits right now of anyone in this series. The infield in on him. Cardinals leading 7-1. A ball. McLean, Sparma, Patterson, Lasher, and Hiller. 5 Tiger pitchers today. Eddie Matthews trying to settle Hiller down. A 1-0 pitch to Lou Brock. Curve is outside to him, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a smash into deep center. Northrup watches the ball sail over his head. This may clean the bases. 2 runs are in. Here's Gibson scoring. And Brock was all the way to third and goes back to second. Brock got into third. Thought he was going to get into a jam with Gibson. Was rounded third and held up just a bit. Brock was so fast he got back to second. He cleaned the bases. He's now had a homer and 2 triples in this game. It's a double now. He got to third and went back. Let's get the double. He had actually reached third. He had an easy triple. But he thought there was going to be a mess up on the bases, so he went back to second. And that's all for John Hiller. And there's a break in the action here. As the score now, the St. Louis Cardinals 10 and the Detroit Tigers 1.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
The all-new Plymouth Fury for 1969. So big, so beautiful, so fresh in design, it's hard to believe this is a popular priced car. Fury has more comfort, more roominess, more luxury. And behind the wheel, more excitement.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
The 1969 Plymouth Valiant, built to Chrysler standards of 6-passenger roominess and comfort. The honest compact. Fury, Valiant, Barracuda, and Belvedere at your Plymouth dealers.
Pat Dobson, who's won 5 and lost 8, now comes in. The Cardinals have scored 4 runs here in the 8th. Lou Brock's at second. He has just cleaned the bases with that drive over the head of Jim Northrup in center field. He had reached third. Gibson had been held up, but when Gibson saw the throw coming in late, he came on into the plate. When Brock saw Gibson holding up, then Brock decided he better get back to second. So instead of a triple, he winds up with a double. He's now had a homer, triple, and double today, and he's knocked in 4 runs as he continues his sensational World Series play. Batter's Kurt Flood, who's grounded out, single, flied out, and popped up. 1 out of 4. 10-1. St. Louis. There he goes. The throw is not in time, and he has just tied his own World Series record. That's his 7th stolen base. He has tied his own World Series record for most stolen bases set in 7 games last year. Look at this form. He runs like a whippet. Here he is. Look at those long strides. Burning speed. There's his slide. Now he's tied the record. He's also tied the late Eddie Collins record of 14 World Series stolen bases. He's done that in 2 series, 7 last year and 7 this year. Ball 1. As impressive as he was against the Red Sox last year, he's been even better this year. He's stolen 7 bases in 4 games, and he's hitting with tremendous power in this series. 2 homers, a triple, a double. He's got 8 hits. Bounding ball to third. It's a fair ball, is it? Foul ball, they say now. Foul ball. Here's Mayo Smith coming out again. Now Bill Freehand's going down to argue. That's Tom Gorman at third. The home plate umpire, I believe, is calling it a fair ball. Tough call for Gorman. The run number's on there. Brock getting back. Matthews is trying to feel the ball right by the bag. They're all gathered together. And they're explaining to Flood, you're out. So Flood rounds out third to first. Brock is still on third. Roger Maris up. No hits in 4 times. Cardinals 10, the Tigers 1. The 8th inning. Ball 1. All Brock would have to do now is to steal home and be the crowning blow, George.
Well, the Tigers are not too happy, I don't think, about the way Brock has been running with such a big lead, and that might be the crowning blow, is right.
1 ball, no strikes. And a stab by Dick McCollum. McCollum stabbing a hot smash off the bat of Maris. 2 down. McCollum played an excellent World Series. Very steady in the field, and he chipped in with 5 hits.
You know, Kurt, Denny McClain's almost a cinch to be the most valuable player in our league, and maybe Bill Freehan second, but you can make a real case for Dick McCollum. He contributed a whole lot to this pennant, and he could very well be the most valuable player without any argument.
Orlando Cepeda now. 1 hit in 3 times. Brock still on third. Inside to him for a ball. Cardinals have scored 4 times in the 8th. They're leading 10-1. These 4 runs, of course, are charged to Hiller. 1 ball, no strikes. Cepeda going after the curve, fouls it back. 1-1. Lou Brock up third. Tied 2 records with that steal of third. Tied his own and tied the late Eddie Collins record. One ball, 1 strike. One and 2 to Cepeda. He's the 8th batter up this inning for the Cardinals. Tigers have more action in their bullpen. Warden is warming up. John Warden. Two and 2. The Cardinal bullpen has been as quiet as Sleepy Hollow today. Gibson out in front with a big lead now. There he is, John Warden. 2 and 2. Two down. Lou Brock's on third. Three and 2. Full count. Rock up third. 2 away. Ground ball. Cash down on one knee for it. Will have to throw to the pitcher covering. That retires the side. But the Cardinals came up with 4 big runs. 2 hits. There was 1 error and 1 left. At the end of 7.5, it's St. Louis 10 and Detroit 1.
Jeremy I. Parsons got a red convertible loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce and bought a blue fastbag with buckets. You look great in blue, Jerry. On the other hand, Wilfred S. Hughes got a Commerce red convertible loan and bought a beige sedan.
You pick me up at the hairdresser's. You could... Wilfred, watch out for that truck. Wilfred, it says no left turn. Take me down to Mary Jane's. We have to...
Well, sure beats walking, eh, Willie? Meanwhile, Miss Charis D. Holmes got a Commerce red convertible loan and bought a pickup truck. How do you like them apples, eh, Charis? Wouldn't you like a Commerce red convertible loan? You might even get a red convertible. Whatever you want, from cars to cameras, boats to broadloom, get it with a bank plan loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. You'll find it easy to arrange. Just talk to the man at the Commerce.
Last of the 8th inning. The Tigers are trailing 10-1 as they send up the top of their batting order Dick McAuliffe, Mickey Stanley, and Al Kaline. McAuliffe has grounded out and struck out twice. Bob Gibson has allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 10. There's a ground ball to the right side. Javier up with it, over to Cepeda, and they have 1 out. Mickey Stanley's fouled out, struck out, and flied out. Gibson has walked 2 today. He hangs on to this lead. Ball 1. He will set a World Series record, the first pitcher to ever win 7 consecutive World Series games. 2 in 64, 3 last year, and if he holds here, it'll be 2 this season. Ball 2, 2-0. The 2-0 pitch to Stanley is a strike, 2-1. Right now, he shares a record with Lefty Gomez and Red Ruffing of 6 World Series victories in a row. There's a drive into left center. Going over for it is Lou Brock. 2 down. Al Kaline has doubled, singled, and lined out. Al dogged with injuries again. He's been a hard luck player in his career with the Tigers. He missed a month with a broken arm this year. The strike, he had a foot operation a couple of years ago. A ball, and his average was down 260, 270, but he finished strong and wound up leading the Tigers in batting at the end of the year. A 1-1 pitch. There's a ground ball to Del Maxville. It's his throw. Gets him out quickly in the 8th. At the end of 8 innings, it's the St. Louis Cardinals 10 and the Detroit Tigers 1.
For 1969, America's first low-price, high-performance car is back. And this year there's a convertible, a hardtop, as well as the original 2-door coupe. There's only one place to catch Roadrunner, at your Plymouth dealer. Go take a look and see what Plymouth's up to now.
In the top of the ninth inning, Tim McCarver, Mike Shannon, and Julian Javier will be up. In the top of the ninth inning, Tim McCarver, Mike Shannon, and Julian Javier will be up. 10 runs, 12 hits, no errors. For St. Louis, 1 run, 4 hits, 3 errors. The game was 35 minutes late in starting, and it was delayed an hour and 15 minutes in the third inning because of rain. Harold Patterson's first pitch is outside. Until the Cardinals got those 4 runs in the 8th inning, just about everybody stayed in this ballpark. Now we've got quite a few empty seats, especially out in the exposed areas. The 1-0 pitch. Liner sinking quickly into left center for a base hit. And here goes McCarver on to second. Willie Horton picked up the ball. That's the third hit for McCarver. An error. On Northrop. A single for McCarver. And the Tigers have made 4 errors today. McCarver at second. Nobody out and Shannon up. 2 hits and 4 times. Cardinals had 13 hits yesterday, 13 hits again today. Broken bat grounder to short. Mickey Stanley into the dirt. Cash. They've been making low throws over him today, and he's done a good job coming up with them. McCarver stayed at second, 1 out. Javier struck out, walked, singled, and doubled. Alan Roth's been our statistician on the World Series, as he has been during the season on NBC's Major League Baseball game every Saturday. Our production manager, returning to his hometown, nearby Old Corktown here in Detroit, Jim O'Gorman. Ball 1 to Javier. Nelson Briles against Mickey Lolich. Matched up again as they were in Game 2 in St. Louis. They'll be going tomorrow. The weatherman says it's a better day tomorrow. Clear weather. Temperature should be about 65. Ball. How they kid the weathermen? Their predictions are 90% true, 10% of the time. 2 balls and no strike. They were right today. They called it right on the nose, all the weathermen. It'll be raining all day and a half. 2-0. Runner on second, 1 out. High fly in the left center. Jim Northrop waiting for it. So that's 2 down. And brings up Del Maxville, who has struck out, grounded out, struck out, and walked. Into shallow center. Northrop wasn't playing too deep. Came on to grab it, retiring the side. In the 9th inning, the Cardinals had no runs, 1 hit. There was 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 8 1/2, the Cardinals 10 and the Tigers 1.
If you've been looking for a lime shaving cream that's not too sweet, Gillette Foamy has what you've been looking for. Because Gillette Foamy has this. The lemon lime. It's part lemon, part lime. The essence of the lemon keeps the tang in the lime. And that keeps this shaving cream from smelling too sweet. Gillette Foamy with lemon lime. Wait till your face gets a taste of it.
Introducing the sporty new 1969 Gillette Techmatic Razor. The fabulous razor band and the dramatically light touch are still standard equipment. But this year's model has one bold new feature. A little dial you can adjust to give yourself a closer shave. We call it the adjustable Gillette Techmatic.
The last call for the Tigers in the last of the ninth inning, with Cash, Horton, and Northrop scheduled up. Bob Gibson has walked 2 today, has struck out 10. The only inning he hasn't struck out a batter, at least one batter in the series, came in the 8th inning. Norman Cash has struck out, fouled out, and popped up. It is really dark here. The lights have been on the entire game. These lights out up here, the umpire signal. There we go. We had some lights on inadvertently, switched on in the booth, and they signaled us to turn them on. Ball went quite a glare, and if somebody had looked up with a fly ball or a pop-up this way, it might have bothered them. Glad to oblige. The 1-0 pitch, foul up. Place of the single in the right field. Cash on first to lead off the last of the ninth. Willie Horton up, walked and struck out twice. That is the first Tiger hit since Northrop homered with 1 out in the 4th. Stopped by McCarver, and that fastball in the dirt. One ball, no strikes to Willie Horton. The Cardinals have a 9-run lead in the last of the 9th inning. They're ahead 10-1. Foul against the chest protector of the umpire. 1-1. The rain is completely stopped. One and one. The slider's low and away. 2-1. And for the first time, warm-up action in the Cardinal bullpen. Ron Willis. He lofts a high fly in the left center. Brock's coming hard. Flood's there to make the grab. Brock went right by him, and Flood took it. Larry Jaster, the left-hander, warming up. Jim Northrop has fly to left, hit a home run. The only run scored off Gibson today, and he's grounded out. One strike to Jim Northrop. 1 out. Norman Cash at first base. Cardinals 10, Tigers 1. Bounding ball hit down to Cepeda. Steps on first, throws to second. Here's the double play that ends the ball game. They had to force off and had to make the tag at second. Bob Gibson being congratulated as he wins another big one for the Cardinals. Breaks the all-time World Series record by winning his 7th World Series game in a row. Breaking the record he shared with Lefty Gomez and Red Ruffing. So in that last of the 9th inning, it's no runs, 1 hit, or no errors, and nobody left. 10 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 1 run, 5 hits, and 4 errors for the Tigers. And so, George Kell, the Cardinals now go 2 games up. They lead 3 games to 1. If there's any solace for the Tiger fans, though, last year the Cardinals went ahead in the same pattern of the Red Sox. And the Red Sox came back to send the series into the 7th game, but the Tigers, of course, now have quite a job in front of them.
Well, the Tigers have their back to the wall, Kurt. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They got another dose today of what they got yesterday. Lusty hitting by the Cardinals, and they ran into that man, Bob Gibson, who was just about as tough as he was on opening day. Not quiet, but it's going to be tough. They're going to come back tomorrow with Mickey Lolich against Bryles and just hope for the best. And Mickey's been the only one that can win for him so far.
And Lou Brock tied 2 series records today. 7 steals in a series, tying his record he set last year in 7 games, and his 14th stolen base in a World Series competition, tying the late Eddie Collins record. And Brock has a chance to break that one tomorrow. So on behalf of George Kell here, this is Kurt Gowdy saying goodbye also for Tony Kubek. Final score, Cardinals win it 10-1. This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner's Office solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner's Office is prohibited. So the Cardinals have taken the lead in the 1968 World Series. 3 games to 1 now. Don't forget to join Jim Simpson and Sandy Koufax again tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time for a World Series report, to be followed by Game 5 of the World Series. The 4th game of the 1968 World Series has been brought to you by